Welcome back to the next video in the Custom Cedar Nightstand build. If you've been enjoying this series or any of my other videos, please take a quick moment to like and subscribe so you'll see future videos coming up, and it also helps me build this channel and helps in the algorithm. With that said, let's get started. So when you're installing a solid wood top, whether it be a table or a nightstand or a dresser, you have to account for the fact that solid wood will expand and contract depending on the changes of the seasons and moisture. To combat this, you can buy special hardware called Z-clips or figure eights, and I'm sure there's a variety of other ways to do it, but I'm going to show you in this video how to do it yourself without having to buy any additional special hardware. What you see me working on right now is creating and making the supports that the top will attach to. So the top will attach to the front support and two additional supports running across the middle and the back of the workpiece. I am using both pocket hole screws and wood glue so I can attach these supports and keep moving forward without having to wait for the glue to dry utilizing clamps. The front side of this solid lumber top, I want to remain stationary. I do have to allow for movement of the wood, expansion and contraction, but I want that movement to be towards the back so the front is always level and symmetrical with the rest of the workpiece. So what I'll do is, using pocket holes, I'll directly attach the front top piece to the support I just finished. The additional supports that will be in the middle, I will need to actually create space in that attachment that allows the wood to have some movement. And this is how I do that. In the remaining two supports, I'm going to mark, punch little guide holes, and then I'm going to drill those holes out, and then I'll come back through with a Dremel and actually carve out slots in the supports. The purpose of these slots is to make room for the screw to be able to move, which will be attached to the top. I'll create 3 slots in 2 supports, and then I'll attach those supports the same way I attached the previous one. Now, if you remember earlier, we discussed I was going to use pocket hole screws for the front support, and that was because we don't need to allow for movement at the very front because we want that to stay stationary. And any movement or expansion and contraction of the wood, we would like to take place the middle and the back, so the front always looks symmetrical and doesn't shift or change with the movement of the wood. Now here's a look with the supports installed, with the slots cut out of the middle and the back support for movement, and the front pocket hole screws ready to go. Now it's time to attach the top to the base of the nightstands. And in a previous video, I went over how I actually made these tops. So if you want to take a look at that, the link will be in the description. It's also in the playlist, but next step is putting the top on, and I'm going to position it into place. I'm going to clamp it down so it doesn't move, so I can begin attaching my screws. I will secure the top to the base in the front first, utilizing the pre-drilled pocket hole screws. This way, the top doesn't have any movement, and I can better position where I want to attach the remaining screws with the slots that will allow for movement. Alright, so the part we've been waiting for. Why we put those slots in the supports, and how they're useful so the top solid piece of wood doesn't crack. Now when we made the slot, what we did is we made it just big enough that the screw itself could slide and move freely in the slot. What we're going to do is we're going to add a washer to our screw, and then we're going to center our screw in the middle of the slot, and we're going to drill it in. Do not over tighten the screw. What we want to do is we want to get a snug connection, and that's it. If you go too tight, you're going to restrict the way that the movement should take place. So we just want enough that it's tight and snug, but we don't want to dig in the screw and the washer into the support piece of wood. The principle behind this is when that wood expands or contracts with the different seasons or the moisture content, then it will allow the screw to move with it, and therefore preventing the expansion and contraction without movement allowed, which would cause cracking. One last thing to keep in mind is the slots that you put in need to go across the grain. So in my example, you can see that the grain runs the same direction that my supports do, and the slots I created go across the grain. And this is because most of the expansion and contraction will be in this direction. And that's it. Now let's put the drawers back in. It's time to take a final look at these. I really do like the way they're coming out so far. In my next video, I will show you how I did the finish work, the staining and everything else. So please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for the next one. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.